for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so welcome everyone. Tonight we are going to get started with the consent agenda, which has the rec manifest and the building permits. If everyone has signed those, and sure, okay, no one has signed yet the rec manifest, so I'm going to pass that around. While we're doing that, I might as well go through the accounts payables, which for the week ending October 3rd of 2025, we have $47,943 in payroll, $12,526 in payroll taxes. There was accounts payable of $82,637. 52,000 of that was health trust payment, and 12,000 was the Turner Group. The consultant on the municipal building options. So I'll, why don't we start there? I'll take a motion to approve the accounts payable.
Motion.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's signed, and then we have the consent agenda, which includes now the rec manifest and the building permits. I'll pass around the single page that we've all reviewed that, so I'll take a motion on that.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We have our treasurer here tonight, Ambrose Kisa. I asked him to come because at the last meeting, there was a question raised by a resident with regard to impact fees. And I know the resident had indicated an amount, which we did search and was not able to find the amount that the resident was referencing, but I think Ambrose can give a full detail, and I think it will be helpful to everyone here and in the audience with regard to impact fees and what those have looked like over the last year and what you've done to reconcile and distribute those fees to the proper places. So come on up, Ambrose, and why don't you give us a summary, because that would be helpful.
This isn't the $1 million. This is not the $1 million.
Well, or 600,000, yeah.
Well, it was 4 and 6, so kind of like.
Right.
I got a couple questions about that. Somebody asked me over the last week, and I was like. He's the one that came up.
Yeah.
What are these?
Hello, everyone. Paul, thanks for having me here to kind of give a summary, although it won't be a late night, so I'll keep it short and easy to understand and simple. So I've given out a couple of notes on impact fees, but generally it's a fee for land use or land development. And the reason why that fee is charged, is for those new incoming residents to pay a fee for capital improvements. Now, capital improvements could be the recreation center, they could be the library, they could be the schools. But I have to say, for the schools, it's a bit different. So you don't expect a 55 plus development to contribute towards the schools, because by the nature of the impact fee, it's not equitable, because they probably wouldn't have children in college at that point. Although they might have, but I'm just with the way the schedules or the basis of assessment stipulate, it's developments like that don't contribute to the schools. So you will find that somebody, Ambrose, who is coming into the neighborhood, will have to pay an impact fee that usually is assessed annually, or whenever the board decides to amend it. It's under the RSA, I think 41.9. So they could decide to change it. Right now, we are using the 2022 impact fee update. For those of you that don't have this, it's a very detailed report of how the fee is computed and calculated. If it's a manufacturing housing, how much do they contribute? If it's a single family detached, how much is? So it's a study that is conducted, and so the fee is, the board decides what fee it's gonna be, and then that's what we go with. Now,
Yeah, and actually, I think, Ambrose, it's a planning board determination. In a little bit of an oddity, the statute has the planning board determine what the impact fee will be, and that's based on, a fairly extensive report that's done that looks at all of those factors that would make up the fee and how that ends up getting distributed. So I know you were looking at, what has been collected
Yep.
over the last 12 months. So maybe you could give us an idea there.
so what has been collected, I don't know if you all received this because I'm all over the place, but so if you, for the board, if you look at what has come in right now is $111,704. And out of that, only 97,000 has been distributed. And reason being that the 14,472 came in last week. So that will be distributed to the different escrows.
But you don't have to spend it immediately, but you're telling me they are.
No.
We're
Well-
distributing it to where?
That's a
about-
good question.
I was
So
about to ask him where it was getting distributed to, so.
that's a very good question. So when the impact fees come in, we deposit them to the general fund, but they're not supposed to be in the general fund.
Right.
So we have to remove them to the general fund to distribute them to the escrow, different escrow. So each the library, the police department, the recreation, they all have their accounts. So we distribute whatever came in for that period. That's what I mean by distribution. So it's distributed from the general fund.
Do you know what the account fund balances are for each one of those?
I do, but unfortunately, I didn't come with those. I thought we were just looking at how much has come in and how much has been distributed. But that information is available.
And I think, Bob, the reason, I had asked Ambrose to do that was because of the question that arose
The other day,
last
last
week. Because the numbers that we were hearing from the resident just were not really matching what, with regard to impact fees, we're just not really matching what we, take in on an annual basis. So I
Right.
thought it was relevant for Ambrose to review how he has accounted for everything over the last year and how that has been distributed, and the amounts that we're talking about being 111 $1,704.
That is for this year. Yep, that's
Yep.
this year.
Yep.
Which is basically 15 properties, right? 'Cause it's one per, or is it all?
Well, yeah, everything.
Okay.
Because it could be individual developments, and
Okay.
A lot of that actually.
but
is-
it comes from River Run, yes.
Yeah, from the River Run development, so.
And if somebody does an ADU, don't they have to pay impact fees also?
They do, but that's,
Still
it's
fine.
included in here, but
It is in here.
yeah. But most of it is River Run. So where you see Langdon Construction LLC,
Mhm.
those are the people that pay the fee. Now, whether they charge the person buying, so it will be companies, but like River Run Development is paying that fee.
I would assume it's baked into their price.
Right, well, I don't know.
there's some-
Maybe after a couple of years, you receive a bill to reimburse there. But so, yes, those will be the impact fees that we have collected this year. Now, those for 2024 were already distributed. So
Do you have the number
There-
by chance? What was,
it was about 124,000, comparable to what we have here, given a couple of months coming through. So it was about 124,000. Now, I think the gentleman that was here last, who was talking about 600,000, I think they thought that is cumulative and it should be somewhere in that, an account, because these impact fees are since time immemorial. Whatever the town decided to start collecting impact fees, that could be, if you look at 100,000 a year, you would think that over a course of 6 years, 600,000 you could easily collect those. But again, I don't have the context of that conversation, and I'm just assuming.
Ambrose, can I ask you a question while you're here?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the summary of impact fee distribution,
Yeah,
and I'm just curious, how do you determine who gets what here? Because it seems to me like police is getting a lot less than the library, for example.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but guess what? We go by this study that was conducted. It's I think it's a 300-page report. For those that want the summary, I can give you a summary, but it shows the schedule of what police gets, what the schools get, what library gets,
The
what
planning board
recreation.
adopts a specific chart that says, right, there's one page in there that says this many dollar goes to this thing and this thing and this thing.
Is that a recommendation from the state, or who comes up with
The
that?
planning board adopts that.
yeah, it's a recommendation from
The
a gentleman who does like a survey and a fairly extensive report on these impact fees
Is
and
it
how.
Lee Greenwood? Is it Lee Greenwood that does that?
No, it was Bruce Mayberry, but he's since retired.
So who-
When it says high here, I'm assuming that's highway.
We don't have one for highway.
So what would
That might be,
then?
that's about, that
what's that?
that
Does
might
it have?
high school, maybe?
High school?
It has highway somewhere.
It says HIGH on there, on your sheet.
HR.
Here,
yes, sir.
Ambrose, where it says high. What's that, the abbreviation for?
Thank you. So we have fire department, library, recreation, Town of Brentwood building. So
I bet
TOB is
that's-
Town of
I
Brentwood.
bet that's Swayze Co-op High School.
Swayze Co-op High School. Yes.
High school, okay.
My apologies. I was just rushing. I was like, I need to.
Cooperative
Thank
middle
you,
school,
guys.
maybe? Maybe your abbreviation was cooperative middle school. So basically
The
elementary,
cooperative.
middle, and high school.
The co-op.
Yeah.
So the co-op is the middle and.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Doesn't
the
make
high
sense to me that-
school, Swayze, police, Town of Brentwood building. For instance, I wanted to have a new building, town building, recreation, library, and fire department.
So honestly, I think this needs to be, this is probably the wrong time to bring this up, but this to me looks very wrong. I mean, we have the rec department and at almost $20,000, fire department at $20,000, library at $16,000, and police is at $8,800.
So Ambrose, could you, just that one page out of the whole report that you have that shows the table of the distributions? Do you have that?
Yeah, I have that one page.
Because that might help give context. to
Yeah,
this,
it's
maybe.
just and you're right, police is on this schedule, police is very, it's a tiny bit, so maybe it needs to be amended, but
So, Jim, this is actually a planning board thing, so we can't.
Yeah,
amend
no,
it?
I know. I'm just, I wanted to go on record and have it out there for people to see because, boy, all right, sorry. Didn't mean to hijack the,
No, it's okay. I mean, I think this is important for, you know, people to understand. And I think it's important for the planning board to hear because, you know, there is a review of these impact fees that are done at the planning board as well. And we have, you know, Doug Finnan here who, you know, was with the planning board.
yeah, I will.
Yeah, just for the record. Just for the record, it looks like it was signed by our code enforcement building department on 1/2/25 for this.
What? I don't know what that is. But
That's
that's
when Kip signed it.
1/2/25.
1/2/25 is when it's dated, that impact fees, the update.
We didn't update the impact fees this year.
I was just kind of giving a summary because
I-
January?
No, we did not update them in
it
January.
was 2024, I think, was
We
last
signed
updated
it.
2024, right?
No, 2022.
22, yes.
22.
But it says 25 on the date, upper left-hand
I
side.
think that's the date of his letter, but the.
Probably it's a letter to the builders from Kip that's what,
That's the new rates.
that's the rates, not the
The
new
rate,
rates.
Before I started with the planning board in 2022, they had adopted this. We never found it in the minutes where it was adopted or signed, so they had to go back and
Oh, okay.
re-adopt.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
How often are those redone, do you know? When you're on the planning board?
As often
Yeah,
as you
that's-
want to pay for them to be.
Usually 5
There's a
years,
44-page study on it.
22, so maybe, we're now still using the 22,
Mhm.
so it probably around 5 years. Depending on whatever you decide, but changes happen.
Yeah, my memory, Doug, from the planning board was that it was typically a 5-year cycle. But I mean, yeah,
Yeah, that's,
but it's at least worth talking about at the planning board.
these
So I
two
think it's
should
good.
equal. I said these two should equal. Unless you're,
And you're the rep to the planning board, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Any other questions from the board or any questions from the public? Okay.
Can you, Liz, can you come to the mic, please?
Sorry.
You don't have that microphone, do you? There it is.
Thank you, Bruce.
Liz Freya, South Road. I would like to know if the co-op means just the middle school and the high school means the high school. I'm not sure if that's correct too, because normally the co-op includes both. Yeah, I've been on the planning board and alternate for, I don't know, several months, not quite a year, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it's never come up that it was the planning board that did this, so it's nice to know that this is, and 22 to 25 is 3 years, not 5, so I think this should be revisited like immediately, because I agree to have almost 19,000 in rec and 8,800 in police is just absolutely absurd. And the high shouldn't be, it should say high school. Letty and I have been asking for them to be impact fees on the highway.
Well, I think Ambrose, to his credit, did explain this a minute ago and said that he was in a hurry to do this for us. And he the co-op is,
The middle, but normally it's not separated out like that, so I'm not sure where that got separated out, but. Huh? Yeah, the cooperative middle school, but it's also the Exeter Region Cooperative School District, so
Yeah.
usually they're not split out like that. They're both
I
co-op.
think that
Hold
was,
on,
it was just the abbreviation there, Liz. So I think.
Okay, well, I think it should have been, I mean, I'm just, every time I come to these meetings these weeks, it's just like, I'm amazed that it almost like seems like we don't have one functioning department in town now. It's just really
Thank you, Liz.
alarming.
Thank you.
Jim Hazard, Mohawk Lane. I guess I just would like to ask, and I don't know a lot about this. It's really the first time I've heard about it. Thank you for, Ambrose, for bringing this right. It looks like, it says here that the permissible use of funds, it says impact fees can only be used for the construction or improvement of municipal capital facilities that are necessitated by new development. They cannot be used to fund upgrades for facilities that serve existing populations. That sound right to you, Ambrose?
That's correct.
Okay.
So, just to add to your point, Jim,
Yep.
for instance, the recreation right now, if those impact fees were asked with the status quo, where you have fully employees in all positions.
Just have him come here and sit right here.
Yes, right there, Ambrose.
Only because the people at home can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. All right. With my limited knowledge of the RSA and the laws, we have lawyers here. I'll put a disclaimer, but you're right in assuming or in stating that they cannot be an update or improvement. So for instance, if the police department hires a new police officer, because now we have River Run after the commencement of that project, then those fees are applicable. It's not to increase salaries of the current police officers or recreation department directors.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so, and it does say that the local government staff plays an administrative role in the collection and management of fees. So like, who actually collects the fee?
The select board.
You, Jillian. Who manages the fees? Like, in other words, this says that monies were distributed to, like, I don't know, rec fund, these different
They
funds.
go into impact fee accounts.
And who, like, and it says there's supposed to be an annual report that shows all of the fees collected and spent. So is there a report somewhere that shows, and I think maybe this gets back to the question that was being asked last week, is, yeah, this is 1 year, but like, what's the total of all, and who's like, in other words, who maintains and manages and oversees the expenditures to make sure that we are compliant with the state law?
Historically, it would have been the town administrator.
Town administrator.
They would
What?
be,
Well, and this, yes.
yeah, historically, from my experience, like when we did the body cameras, for example,
Hmm.
those were new. That was an addition. It was something we'd never had before.
And they were
So-
purchased because we got a new development called
Well, what
55 and
happens is you
older?
have those impact fees and you only have so much time to spend those. If you don't
7
spend them,
years.
they get returned.
I know.
So what happened is that's something new that they never had. We needed to upgrade, or like the live scan thing,
Mm-hmm.
they can pay for that with impact fees versus having to appropriate money from
Okay.
taxpayers.
Right.
So that's how they.
But what I'm saying is,
spend
it says here that it must be used to support the municipal capital facilities that are necessitated by the new development.
Mhm.
So I guess that passes the litmus test that we get body cameras, because we had a 55 and older development of whatever, how many houses, that necessitated the need for body cameras in the town of Brentwood.
In a
And I guess I'm
sense,
just wondering who, like, you're saying it was the town administrator.
Well, the town administrator kept track of all the fees.
Okay.
up
Maybe
until
that would
then.
be something good I would just ask for, if we could have, what is the current totals, like,
An
in
impact
all?
fee account.
Yeah, and what were the expenditures this year, and what were they for? And it says here there's supposed to be an annual report anyway, so,
I think it is in our
Alright.
annual report.
It was not in the last town
It
report.
wasn't?
Maybe it was, actually.
No.
I know that was one of the ones that we were working on trying to
Okay.
get done.
Okay.
Ambrose could get you
Anyways.
that information.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Jim, you're right with your questions, because I think that, for instance, if REC was going to, right, there you go, irrigation system, so they will use those funds, and there will be So I think the
But
recreation.
again, and I don't want to beat a dead
Yeah.
horse here, but like, it was a 55 and older community, so you're putting in irrigation so kids can play soccer or something. It just seems like
So
that's
the
not a
money
use or
isn't
something. But the
tied-
pickleball court, I could see that,
But the
well, we
money
have an
isn't
older
tied to a
community, so.
specific community.
It's what?
It's not tied to a specific project.
So Jim, I think your confusion is that the sheet that Ambrose gave us is the money that was dispersed
Correct.
into those accounts.
Understood.
So the money that was used to purchase rec could have been used from Long Meadow Estates development, which brought kids into the rec program, which
Totally.
necessitated the need for new fields.
Right.
It's not necessarily the 55 plus that,
And I'm just
But
trying
the
to
55
clarify for
plus-
myself here, because I really have never seen this
It's a
before.
broad, a pretty broad test is my understanding. So we'll get a proposal from, one of the departments that they want to proceed.
Right.
And then we'll make a determination whether or not that's
I would think
an
it's
appropriate process.
similar to like one of the funds, right? Like when we want to withdraw from one of the funds, we go to the trustee of the trust funds, we say, we're going to use this for this purpose. They verify that that purpose is legit covered under the fund. So it must be something similar with this. And,
Yeah, they do that.
and maybe that's just something that would be
Jason can talk
nice
about
to document for everybody. And if it was gonna be in the town report, and if it was there, great, I'll look, but,
It wasn't this year.
okay. So maybe we just have to get that report kind of set up,
And that
especially
was,
for
that
this
was
year.
really the,
Thank you.
that was
Yeah.
a big reason why I had Ambrose here.
And
to-
thank
to start
you,
that
thank you
process.
for that, because, and Mr. Chairman, thank you for following up, because you're right, there was a question from Todd last week, and I do think that's what he was referring to.
I think so too.
Yeah, it
The
was.
best I could discern.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it was, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Ambrose.
No, thank you so much for having me and trying to.
I appreciate you coming in.
Okay. Jillian, I think, has created a draft policy with regard to rate of pay, so I'll let you present that, Jillian.
Yeah, I would like to propose that we use one rate of pay form for all employees to be signed by the employee, their supervisor, and the select board. Currently, that's not done. It's just signed by the employee and the department head. If the department head is the employee, it gets signed. So I would like to have everyone put eyes on this and confirm that we're paying people the correct amount.
so I think she did a great job on the policy. Nailed it. The form, I think we could use a couple tweaks, just, Bob had mentioned the amount of hours for a part-time employee. I had mentioned whether the rate of pay is hourly or salary. But besides that, I think she did an outstanding job on both.
Yep, very good.
And I would agree if you can do those changes. The other thing I would do, and this is just me being kind of a little nitpicky, is whenever you do a form, it's nice to just put the month and the year
Yep.
of when this was done, so
Yep.
that way future people that look at this can understand, hey, this thing is now 20 years old, can I update this form?
Good idea, yep.
Yep. So we're actually voting on the policy. The form can be tweaked. Again, the policy is to establish a consistent process for documenting and improving changes in employee rates of pay within the town of Brentwood. And I think the idea is that it allows and provides us with the due diligence and really the checks to make sure that this is happening, across the board with employee, department head, and ultimately select board to make sure that, there are those kinds of checks across the board. So I
I'll make a
would-
motion.
Okay.
Second,
Any discussion?
we just did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. And we'll work on those tweaks to the form, but the policy is adopted. Thank you.
Could we also get a version of the form for like once a year when we do budgets, instead of having to have 20 of these? Just have
Like a
one.
recap form almost?
I mean, yes, I'm assuming most of the times people people's rate of pay change is gonna be through the budget process?
Well, each employee should have a pay rate change form, even if it's across the board. So each employee should have in placed in their personnel file the date it was changed and the amount it was changed to.
Okay. You're probably correct. I was trying to sign fewer pieces of paper.
Yes.
All right, next on the agenda, Jason. We're to talk about rec commission vacancy. Yep, please. And also one of the events that is upcoming.
Yes. Jason Gagnon, Program Coordinator for the Town of Brentwood. I'm coming before you guys today to let you guys know that we have a vacancy on our commission, for the Recreation Commission. John Gary stepped down back in August, and so we currently have an open seat. I know you guys are usually the ones who appoint people to the commission, so I'm kind of going before you guys to ask how you'd like us to proceed on filling that open seat.
Do you guys have, what are the auxiliaries or
Alternates.
alternates?
We currently have 3.
Is there one specific one that wants to be part of the board?
There's been one that has expressed interest in stepping up.
Yeah, I mean, typically, although, you know, we'll do it on a cyclical basis, we'll put it out for, you know, for the public, and people will put in applications. But if you're in the middle of a cycle and someone has stepped down, I don't see why you couldn't make a recommended appointment of an alternate to fulfill the rest of that term through the cycle.
Okay, so just to clarify, would you like us to not, to vote in a alternate each meeting, or are you asking us to appoint, or,
You would
How-
make a recommendation to this board of who the alternate is that wants
Okay.
to serve, and then have them come talk to us, and
okay,
we wait motion second.
gotcha.
Do you know what the appointment or what the term remaining is?
John Gary's term ended in March of 2026, so
Okay.
6-ish
So
months,
we're-
5 months.
Yeah, so I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like me to come back with that, or I have
When's your next rec board meeting?
October 22nd, I believe is the date, the 4th Wednesday of the month.
Yeah,
So-
and have you already made a recommendation as a board, or?
No, we have not discussed
Okay.
how the board would like to proceed at all, but
All right,
I wanted to
okay.
come before you guys to ask how you like.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you make a recommendation to us, and then we'll,
Okay.
you know, vote to have that term fulfilled through March, and then the process would go through the regular process that we use.
Alrighty. And then lastly, it was brought to my knowledge that the Recreation Department offers a recommendation for trick or treat each year. So the Recreation Commission recommends that trick or treat takes place on October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. Halloween. That's a decision up to you guys to make, apparently. That's just the
What
board's
day is that
recommendation.
Friday.
That's Friday, sorry, October 31st, which is Halloween itself, from 6 to 8 p.m.
Love it.
Make a motion.
Second?
Is there context for why we have to do that and why we can't just say Halloween's on Halloween every year?
It's just,
Depends on, I would think, police presence.
yeah,
and all that.
the historically, the rec in the police department have set the date and then made it public. Some towns have chose sometimes that because it's a Friday night, that they don't want to do it on a Friday night because of mischief.
Okay.
Like Manchester does it on a daytime.
That's,
So, I mean, it's just up to the town, but historically Brentwood's done it on the 31st.
okay.
4 to 6, 5 to 8.
Our commission recommended 6 to 8, but that was our recommendation.
Yep, and as long as I'm here, I'll be the scary guy hiding behind the tree.
Halloween, trick or treat, not the spooky walk.
Oh, yeah. Are we
Oh.
doing that?
Unfortunately, we're not doing the haunted walk this year due to staffing
Okay.
problems. Yeah.
Before he goes, well, we have to finish this.
Yes, I'll make a motion that Halloween is 6 to 8 on the 31st.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It was brought to my attention that the bleachers in the field, the far field, are in pretty rough shape.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of it, and what's your plan to fix those?
I know they've been in worsening conditions. I haven't seen the current state of them, but I'll be down there this Saturday, or I can even swing by tomorrow morning to take a look at them.
Okay.
So I don't know currently how they look in terms of condition, but depending on the severity, it could be a quick fix, or it might be something that we might have to dig into.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, if
they're-
you can take a look at it, that'd
Certainly.
be good.
If they're unsafe, you want to make sure you're
Of course.
getting them out of there so we don't have kids climbing
Of
out and
course.
getting hurt.
Yep, I can do it tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, and you'll be here to talk about personnel and non-public. Okay, great. All right. Well, now to the fun stuff. Budget. So fortunately, this week is relatively light in terms of discussing budgets of emergency management, conservation, and welfare. But I did add to the agenda a discussion generally about budgets in terms of, you know, whatever anyone wants to talk about in terms of the whole, you know, what ideas, you know, people have in terms of going through this. And I also know there was, I'm trying to find the email. There was discussion about needing more information from the departments in terms of getting specific wage information that we presently do not have. Let me see if I can pull this. Okay. So I did receive an email from the chair of the budget committee, and he was looking for the following information. It's a bulleted department account name, employee position, employee group type, such as 1 or 2, category for police or fire, current salary or hourly wage rate, percent recommended increase in salary, wage rate, hours per week for hourly employees, any stipend provided to employee, eligibility for New Hampshire retirement, and whether the employee is eligible for town benefits. So I think we can make, and my concern as I go through these budgets, but I appreciate other people's input, is that we just have a line for wages, and it makes it very difficult to parse out, you know, whether or not that is reasonable or not. And so, you know, I think it's important to get that kind of itemization so we can make those determinations. But again, I'd open it up to others, and if people do agree with, you know, that those bullet points in terms of information that's needed, I think that we can, as a select board, make, you know, a statement or a declaration that is, you know, information that we want as we go through this process.
I think it's good to have that because I think it's going to give you, number one, it's public information because they're employees, public. And I don't think it needs to, we can have traditionally how the budgets are done, but then maybe there's an addendum that gives us the employees specific, what the percentage increase that they're seeking. So I don't see a 11% increase in the whole line. Really, it's because maybe there was a warrant article that added money to it, and there was another position that was put in there last year that's now built into this year's budget because the warrant article carried over. Those are things that I want to know, like, are we giving that person a 10% raise? Are we giving them a 43% raise? What are we giving them?
Right.
Or are we giving them a 2%? You know, we got to look at all that. So I think that would be prudent for us to get that information. So I would encourage that.
I know, Letty, you had perhaps some comment on that?
Yeah, I think all of that information,
Can you, your mic?
Yes, sorry, I turned it off. Yes, we talked about this at the budget committee meeting last night. I was just thinking, I was trying to come up with an example that would not point to a specific department. So for example, the select board budget for select board salaries is going up by 25%. But it's not, right? Because really, we had one select board member that chose to not take their salary, so we cut it out last year. And so having that broken out by chair, vice chair, member would make it clear that nobody's getting a raise. Yeah, I think it's gonna be better the more we know, so that we don't have to ask questions.
Yeah, the more information we have, the better. I don't see how that's.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah, like I know the health officer budget that was $2, it's gonna go back down to 1, so I'm gonna take a
No, I'm
50%
putting
cut.
it back to 2. Sorry, there's nothing you can do about it.
I'll throw in a buck.
Andy.
just to-
So this is my last budget, but in the future, hopefully this helps you. I've been asking for a while that instead of just getting these budget sheets, we actually get supporting documents.
Oh, we got
So when my chief does his budget, he does an Excel spreadsheet and lists every officer, what they're making, and what they're going to, which shows that. Under his gasoline line, he shows, I've used 5,000 gallons last year, 4,000 gallons the year before, and this is what the average rate of gallons is, and this is why I'm asking for this money.
Mhm.
So there's documentation to every line of why they need something. And it makes our job much easier instead of just being, oh, we need to cut this because it increased, but we don't know why it increased, and
Yeah.
you know, we sit there and ask and, but I mean, in the future, it's an idea for the board and the budget committee. I know, there were some spreadsheets made to help with payroll, but
So I can tell you that every department has already provided that. I had asked for that after we got these, and every department, I think, at least all the big ones, except for one maybe, provided that. I know I just sat with Doty today to review what his was, since he's not gonna be here when it's time for his budget to be presented. But it is broken out exactly like that, where there's a person's name and then what they make
But we
now.
don't see them.
I could send it to you.
Well,
Well,
I actually just put it in a folder that I invited you all to look at if you want.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, and if you could share that
Yeah.
around, that would be great. But I do think, we ought to formalize that,
if you presented with their budget.
yeah. And, again, all the bullet points that were referenced in, the budget chair's email, I think, makes sense. I don't know if you wanted to comment further on that. Don't worry, I'll get you next.
Yeah, Jim Hatcher, Chair of the Budget Committee. Just so you know, all of those bullet items actually came from the original form that I was given when I became the cemetery trustee chair, the former town administrator. And I think, Andy, this is what you're referring to. It's a spreadsheet that helps me create the lines that on the high level, right, account sheet that gets turned in. And I remember last year, I think, when I presented, and like I said, it had all of that information, you plug it in and then you can put it in there. And I presented it to the budget committee, and I remember the chair saying, oh, this is amazing. I wish we got this from everybody. And honestly, I think this is what Letty was asking for last week. And I gave you a tool as well, that if they don't have the spreadsheet already, I created a tool that was based on the file that I had been given, only automated it a little bit. So when you pull down the group 1 or group 2 fire, it pulls in the proper FICA and New Hampshire retirement and all that. It pulls all that in automatically. So you just basically have to give it the current salary and what % raise, or whether hourly or whatever. So anyways, all of those bullet items were strict. I didn't make those up. It's not my thing. It came right from the form that the town administrator had given me.
But I think we need, as a board, and I appreciate that, but I think we need, as a board, to formalize that so
Amen.
that when we get
Agreed. Totally agree.
information,
Absolutely.
it comes in that format.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I like that.
Yeah. So should we make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
The motion specifically.
Yeah, what's the motion?
The
Motion.
motion is to get the clarification updates on their budgets as you outlined.
As set forth in the Chair of the Budget Committee's email of September 30th, 2025. Or I don't know if you want
I
to,
can withdraw my motion.
I think it's too late to do it this year, like,
Okay.
you would have to go back in and plug everything in. But going forward, that's something that I would recommend that,
Well, I mean, you can have the person that's gonna be presenting the budget, and that we have a schedule when the budget's gonna be presenting, they just need to go ahead and do that before they come before our board.
yeah.
I mean, we already have all of their total budget numbers. If they didn't do it on a spreadsheet, then they can just show us however they calculated it.
yeah. And I don't think it's too late for the major departments to do this.
No.
So to
I
the
mean-
extent it hasn't been done, then I think it needs to be. I mean,
As a select board, we should be as informed as possible. And so I agree with you that the more information, the better.
I mean, highway, library, fire, and police are October 28th, November 4th, 18th, and 25th. So I think, that can certainly be done.
Like I said, I know most of them already do it that way.
Yeah, so they should be
but-
able to get that information
Right.
transcribed to give us an update and a written
Uh,
write-up.
I mean, yes. I just sent you a link, there's to all the things that, because I had asked Julie for that, if they had given her any backup information when they sent in their budgets. And so the ones that we got are now in a folder that you can all see.
Yeah,
Sweet.
but again, I just want to make sure it's formalized, and to the extent there's any, gap in terms of that not happening, then we want to formalize it to make sure that it does happen.
And it'll probably make it a lot easier when they're presenting their budget if I have that information
Mhm.
versus me going, well, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And then we're gonna be here for 4 hours as I fight with them over a budget.
You want to withdraw your motion?
No,
and
I
make
don't
another
think
one,
there's
or
a need to,
skip it?
I don't think there's a need to withdraw it. I think-
Okay,
No,
Yeah.
I think it's outlined, and
Yep.
I think
Yep.
if, as long as we can get that information that's outlined in there, I'm fine with that.
okay, done. Second?
There's a second. I know there's some, yeah, but go ahead, some
Jeff Bryan,
discussion.
Lyford Lane. I was on this board for 11 years and Budget Committee for 11 years. Andy's absolutely correct. You need every single line item itemized. As far as salaries, you can put that out there, but it doesn't go out to the general public. It just goes to the board.
That's not accurate, I don't think, because doesn't it end up in the town report?
No. No. The salaries for the individuals can go in the report if you'd like. But Andy's correct and Bob's correct. You have to have everything ready, so this board can just say, okay, I'm worried about the gasoline, or I'm worried about the oil. Okay, that all should be right in front of you. You shouldn't be guessing at all. And if the current employees or department heads can't handle that for you, push them harder. They don't have a choice.
Agreed.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. I think the motion more focuses on the bullet points as it pertains to employee wages. I mean, we can
Well,
expand.
that's why I'm saying that I would like to go with Andy's idea, and I would absolutely like to have everything itemized. I want to see what's going on.
I'll withdraw my motion if you want to make a motion to do that.
So it'd probably have to be a twofold motion because the bullet points are more extensive than what I was talking about, but,
Combine both.
Yeah.
What if we, at the very least, get everyone's current and future rate of pay? And
at the minimum, we should have itemized on how they came up with their budget number, each line item. If Jim has created an Excel spreadsheet that basically calculates that for everybody with their insurance and, not insurance, but their
Like,
FICA Medicaid based on their Group 1 or Group 2 status, that even better, that simplifies it for the department head. So there could be one for salaries and one for every other line item.
and I think it should be, if they have that sheet, the salary thing is pretty quick. But as Jeff pointed out, as long as we know what we're voting on,
Mhm.
I mean, there's certain things that I can't control. I can't control what the price of fuel is. I can't control what electricity is. So I have to look at that and say, is this a reasonable expectation, what you're asking me? Or, you know, like, why is the water heater running 24/7 and my electric bill went up $400 like my kids do when they take showers? So those are things that I have to look.
So I think we're talking about a motion that would include information with regard to the salaries present and what the propose is for each employee within the department, as well as justification for any
Right.
non-salary
Perfect.
items that involve capital improvements or.
Just each line item.
Yeah, or each line item. Okay.
So my motion's withdrawn if we want to go with your motion, that just basically outlines what he said.
Yep.
I'll second your motion.
Yeah, I was just,
Works.
I was recapping.
I like your recap, so.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Perfect.
So I don't know if there's any more general discussion that folks want to have about the budget. I mean, I know, what we've been given, at the end looks like a 9.5% increase. So obviously, we have some work to do on our end. The budget committee has work to do on its end.
And we would welcome any department head that would like to go back and sharpen their pencil and come up with some cuts. That would be great.
I would encourage it. I know we have some things in there that can be tweaked and massaged, and, some of the, I would love to see us come in pretty level for an overall budget. But that's me.
Yeah, so I brought this up last night at the budget committee meeting. I would like to try to level fund the operating budget, which does not mean each individual budget is level. It means that overall, we might cut from one place to make an increase elsewhere. I think that's what I would like to try to do, and then anything that doesn't fit in that, we could put as a warrant article.
Yeah, I think we owe that to the taxpayer. I really do.
And so I would definitely encourage the department heads to sharpen their pencils, look at their numbers, and come back with something that's realistic versus a pie-in-the-sky wish list. I don't like wish lists.
So do we want to set forth a declaration as a goal for an ultimate level funded budget?
I,
I'm saying 0, so.
Yeah.
Is 0 okay?
I'm saying 0 is impossible between the trash
Okay.
and positions that have been added this year, so.
Let's try, let's
I'm just saying.
use that
I
as a
think,
goal.
Like, if that's the goal and we get down to 1 or 2,
Mhm.
that's still,
I don't think we can.
That's a failure. If your goal is 0 and you're at 2, that's a failure.
Well,
My
no.
expectation,
than
I'm gonna set my goal here. I might be willing to move. It's a negotiation. And I'm willing to compromise where I stand, so I'm not gonna stick my heels in the sand and say, pull me across, but I'm sticking my heels in the sand saying, yank me really, really hard. I might not budge, but I will try.
Yeah,
It's gonna be palatable for everybody. Might not taste good.
I mean, a goal, if we set that as a goal and, it's not binding upon us, it's just merely our declaration.
I was
It's
just
merely
saying
our
that was my
declaration.
goal.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying that was my goal. I've come up with something that I think will get us there. If this board wants to do something different, then they're welcome to.
I really would love I would love to see us come in level as much as possible. And so I want people to sharpen I don't want people coming with pie in the sky. I don't want to see it. I'm giving somebody a 9% raise. I'm giving somebody an 11% raise. I want realistic. Coming to me with what's really realistic and palatable, not a 43% increase or an 11% increase for one line or one person. I want something reasonable.
So I think we can make a declaration as a board that that's our goal, even though it's not necessarily binding. If anyone wants
And
to.
I think it sends a good message, so I like that.
Yep.
You wanna make a
Agreed.
motion, Bob?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
All in favor of that as a declaration, not binding, but as a goal for this budget? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
The motion is,
we just did.
Yeah,
try to level fund.
that was the
Like
goal.
to see
We
level
just
fund.
did.
That was the goal.
That's
Well,
the goal.
actually, Letty's motion was 0%. Not try to level fund it, was the goal was for
Okay.
0%.
My goal is for level funding, and that was
Aren't
the
those the
motion I'm
same
making.
thing?
I'm
not
not
the
sure
same
what the
thing.
distinction is
Well,
between,
you said try.
Okay, then,
or that it's a goal, not a binding, statement, but a goal. Okay, yeah.
Our intention is for level funding. For level funding, to try to, we're recommending that our goal as a board is to try to do level funding. It's 4 to.
4 to
4
1.
4 to 1. Me.
Andy,
All right.
he was a nay.
actually, don't get closer to your microphone, please.
All right. Any other
This is
discussion
motion.
about
Killed me.
general budget before we go into the specifics?
All right, what's first here?
So before us today, we have emergency management.
Is this gonna work? Maybe? Maybe, why?
It looks like emergency management goes from salary that will increase from 3743 to 46. I'm sorry,
Not salary.
2381 to 3450, which brings the budget from 3743 to 4627. I'm sorry.
I have a different sheet.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking at wrong numbers. Sorry.
So this
Got it.
year's was 4627.
Thank you.
The next year's request is 4,694. Minimal increase. I mean, you're looking at what?
1.5.
1.45.
Yeah, but the dollar amount, what are we looking at?
To change from
$50
3450 to
50 bucks.
3519.
So he's up $50.
Actually, it's $70, but
70 bucks?
69.
69, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. I think it's emergency management. I guess I was wondering what the salary increase is up $200, right? Oh, no, he's only spent $200.
$69.
69 bucks, yeah.
Looks like everything else is the same. in
Everything's the
that
same
budget,
except for, yeah.
other than the $69. If there's any concern there about 69 bucks. If not,
So again, in my perspective, it's not about $69. It's about that we budgeted 4,500 and he didn't spend any of it.
so the problem being is I am not sure if 2026 is a drill cycle. 2025 had no drills. So there was no Seabrook drills in 2025. If 2026 is a drill cycle, there'll be 3 drills
Okay,
that would need to be paid for.
but how much do those cost?
Where you're
So
paying,
2024 was a drill cycle?
it's every 3 years.
It's also emergency management, so you're planning for
The worst.
if we have an ice storm or where we have to open up the emergency command center and then he has to do it. So a lot of this is kind of like the welfare stuff. We don't know what's coming in until we actually need it.
Oh, absolutely. But if we're in a situation like we're in right now where we can only increase by a certain amount, then I'm going to be interested in looking at money that we have historically budgeted but not used.
yeah, and I don't know that we know that unless we have the emergency gentleman here to tell us that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I knew he couldn't be here today for this.
I think also knowing how much he has in his capital reserve would also be helpful. because he has whatever, $8,000 a year that gets put in there,
Yes.
so.
Well,
We can
why don't we
get,
just pause on it until,
yeah, we can
Sure.
table it and
Yeah.
get some
Table it.
answers from
Tabled.
Rick?
Rick. Thank you.
I think we cut it by like 6 or 8,000 last year, and we didn't have a problem, but.
Jillian, can you direct those questions to Rick? Okay, appreciate it. All right, next on the agenda is conservation. I know, because I'm liaison to conservation, that was kept as a level funded budget. As you'll see, there's a 0% increase on
This is just a commission, not the department, correct?
Conservation Commission, correct?
What department? Do you have a conservation?
Oh, I'm
department?
sorry. I'm thinking of rec, not conservation.
Conservation
I
Commission.
want
Now,
whatever
what
you're
this,
thinking.
just, and this is another day, what this doesn't include is the potential for additional debt service, because there might be another open space bond that will be taken out next year on a piece of property that the Open Space Committee has identified. We are looking at debt service on October 14th, so we can, discuss it at that time. I know there was concern that I had raised at the last Conservation Commission meeting that, given the constraints of the tax cap, by taking out additional debt service on new properties that we purchase before the retiring of older debt service, that we're increasing the amounts that, in the budget. And I know from looking at the debt service that there is a retiring conservation bond that comes up not next year, but in 2027. So the question did come up, should we potentially wait on that property into 2027 as opposed to 2026? I know it was something that the Conservation Commission was concerned about waiting that long for, but didn't necessarily think it was make or break. I think it's something that Rob Wolfchuk, if he comes, and we can invite him to come to that debt service meeting on October 14th, can address.
yeah, and I guess one of the, like, I look at the budget, I'm fine, it's level funded, but like, I see that they had $7,250 for audit expense, and then easement monitoring was $4,036.31, but then they were dropped down to $1 and $100.
Mhm.
They didn't spend anything in those, but the year before they spent $7,250 and $4,036. I assume easement monitoring is something that's constantly ongoing, isn't it?
So Conservation Commission was paying for that, and
No.
members have started doing it.
Oh, okay.
Actually, those might be, at one point I know they put legal fees in other lines.
So we removed them from this, but moved them to another line?
No, like, they had to pay for lawyers for the conservation project, right? And so they put them in those lines because that's where they had money in their budget.
I think that first column is a last year
So that would be 23 budget.
actual, yeah, as opposed to, looking at this year actual.
But again, there was no actual audit or easement monitoring. They had to pay, I think, Divine Millimet for legal fees regarding
That's
a
true.
conservation
For the
property. And I
conservation
think
easement.
that's where they put those fees.
So those numbers are under 2024.
Yes.
2025, you guys changed, at some point, the board changed it to $1 and $100.
Yes.
But we don't know we don't know where they got moved to. You
They
think they're?
It was a one-time expense.
It was a
One-time
one-time
expense, okay.
expense, and they just put it in whatever line they had
Okay.
money.
Okay.
So one thing actually, I'll tell you this, Bob, because just for context, historically, we've discovered that people would just put expenses in whatever line they had money in. So it made it really hard to look back for
And track
budgeting purposes, for tracking. So we tried to encourage people now, or this year, to put expenses where they really landed. And if that meant that that line was overdrawn, that's okay, because we could ask, why did this line get overdrawn? Oh, it was a one-time expense. And then we pretty much level funded their budget last year. We were originally gonna make a cut, and they said that they needed the money.
But so far this year, they've only spent $4,597.23.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if some of that is short because bills haven't been paid yet for the expenses associated with the Mooney Nunger. Right,
Easement.
yeah, it's actually a purchase of a parcel. It's an acquisition, which we're supposed to be closing on sometime in October. We just got the okay from the landowners on the deed that I had helped draft, and town council had reviewed and approved. And we have the closing company, and I sent out a bunch of dates that I'd be available to, be there for the closing. So I think there's some expenses there that aren't,
And I know Bruce Stevens came and he was thinking about 3 acres, so you're gonna need some type of professional fees services for that too, I would assume.
correct.
So we got a budget for that, but. Any other discussion on this budget? Level funded.
We're never gonna be able to get any, like, if we just level fund,
Yeah.
even everything. Like, yeah, it's level funded, it's
But
not
if
going
there's
up, we're
something
gonna
we
leave it
can cut,
alone.
I don't know.
That's my perspective, but it would seem that the rest of the board does not share it.
If there can be a haircut taken out of it, I'd love that, but, you gotta start somewhere, so something's, again, sharpening pencils. But it is level. But I look at like the $9,500, could we drop that to 9,000?
Yeah, so those professional services, I believe, includes the consultant who the Conservation Commission uses, Anna Boudreau. Would also,
This is where the spreadsheet would be helpful.
exactly.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
And then the other problem is the actuals, because we haven't posted everything from 25 yet.
Right, right.
24 or 25?
25.
We're still trying to reconcile 24 too, aren't we?
We're not gonna get into that.
So we should stop and close that down. That's just my perspective.
Yep,
Stop spinning our wheels and just
okay,
stop the hemorrhage and paying an accountant to look at it and shut it down.
okay.
Pull the Band-Aid.
Talking about 24?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rip the
Well,
Band-Aid
I
off.
understand that that's gonna happen within the next couple of weeks anyways. I'm fine with it as level funded. I can have Michelle Sidowit or Rob Wolfchuk, come back if you want to table it. I'm fine with it as level funded.
Honestly, I'm with Letty. If we can find ways to, even if it's $2,000 here, 5 here.
That's literally how we
Great.
got
Yeah.
to where we were last spring.
Yep.
I know you hated it, every single second of it, but
It's painful.
We
was
did it.
painful?
Painful.
I cut
Okay.
all sorts of money that we've been budgeting for a long time but never use.
I would say if we can get the clarification like we talked about earlier, maybe getting that little breakdown like Andy had brought up,
Be very helpful.
I think it'd be helpful. So I make a motion that we table this until we can get that breakdown, then we can move it forward and have them come before us to talk to us about it.
Can you direct Becky Dunham, who I know is trying to move out of being chair, but I think she would be helpful, as well as, CCing Michelle and Rob. address those issues.
I make a motion that we do not allow Becky Dunham to retire.
No retirement for you, is that what you're saying?
I mean, just as a, I guess, thought exercise, this board could also make a decision. And if one of the department heads feels that we've made a decision erroneously because we didn't have complete information, they could bring that information to us.
Well, what's your recommendation?
For this budget,
Yeah, where would you haircut?
I would cut this budget down to $10,000.
And where would you take it?
I don't have to decide that. They can have $10,000 and they can decide how they want to distribute it throughout their lines. Because I don't know between professional services and like, I don't know which of these things are the most important to them.
Well, I think it's fair to table it and say, you know, come up with your own
Yep.
thing and go from there, you know? Yeah.
Okay.
Give them a chance to explain.
Yep.
Okay.
Motion to table.
Motion to table.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Final one on the list is welfare.
And Laura's here, right? Laura's in the other- welfare person.
Mhm.
Come on up.
Our interim welfare director's here.
Sit here, the victim circumstance, wherever you'd like to sit.
Woohoo, she's here.
There you go.
Welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
We're reducing it by $20,000.
Actually, I've asked for 12% increase.
That's why we're reducing it by 20. See how my negotiation starts?
So just so you all know, from 24 to 25, the budget was cut from welfare by $6,500. $5,000 was recommended by the regional associations for that year because we were finding that many of the applicants still had ARPA money and they had more money in their accounts than what they were going to be spending for the year. So we were fairly conservative last year, and we knew that the budget committee was looking for money. So we went to Jen and suggested that she go from 18,000 for regional associations to 13,000 for the 1 year. But actually, I'm looking and it looks like 6,500 was cut from the budget between 25 and 24. I can just go, my budget's really tiny. The salaries were just raised by what was recommended. There was no money for training and dues, and I added 100 for training and 30 for dues, which is an annual for the New Hampshire Local Welfare Administrators Association. Direct assistance is the same. I have no records from our prior welfare administrator, so RSA 165, we're supposed to maintain case records for 7 years after they're closed. I have nothing. I have no idea what was spent this year. I have no idea.
Nothing.
Okay. Which is troubling because we don't know we don't have no notes of knowing what was done. And if we are not doing welfare correctly, we actually put the town at liability. So, and we will lose if they go with legal aid, if we're not following the law, and we should have policies and procedures. Just to let you know, I've put in approximately 30 hours of volunteer time, just trying to get our new procedures in place, a new application. I'm just trying to get it all there.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
No, it's my pleasure, because it's really important that it gets done.
Yep.
Ultimately, our budget for direct assistance, but the $3,000 is the amount that the town is expecting to spend. But legally, we're required to spend what we need to spend. So should a great need come, know that we will be required to go over budget. Hopefully, we would not do that because we will have the regional association, and we have nonprofits who do a lot of the support.
So can you just explain the difference between the direct assistance and the
Sure.
community assistance?
So community assistants are nonprofits who support our residents. So if we need someone to go to a shelter, we have shelters that apply for funding. They do a regional association grant, like a grant application. The regional association committee reviews all of them. One of them that I can tell you that I know applies is Meals on Wheels, which I know supports many of our residents. So they apply for funding, and that comes out of the Community Assistance Fund. And then they in turn support our people. The direct assistance is someone who has an immediate need. They might need housing, they might need food, they might need transportation for medical, they might need heat. And again, heat can come from, there are organizations in New Hampshire that do help with fuel assistance. So that would be our first step, would be to try to get them to assistance outside of Brentwood. We more like direct them to where these services can be provided. But there are times, technically, we could be paying for a hotel for somebody for a period of time that they're homeless, or rent or mortgage. And then we also, under RSA 165, for people who own property, we have the ability to put a lien to sometimes get that money back. But that is for direct assistance only.
And I do know, like, if I get called up for the health officer, the occupancy permit gets pulled from the house because it's unlivable or no potable water, et cetera. There's other situations for it. Then I end up reaching out to welfare, and they basically have to find temporary housing.
So the increase in this budget is 11.73%. The major difference there would be the community assistance going up $2,000.
Right, and we're still not at our original funding of 18,000, which was in '24. And typically, we claim close to every other year funding about 17.5. So assuming ARPA money is drying up, we will be getting more work. In fact, I've already gotten, of the 6 inquiries to apply, 4 of them are new. So,
We can ultimately make, I mean, it's within our discretion to, how we want to distribute those monies into which nonprofits, correct?
right, that's what Regional Association recommends.
And I know, because I was part of getting the regional association set up, so I'm very familiar with this process. And you usually, typically, historically, have the same places apply for the same, they're all asking everyone in the community to basically give them some money. And that's the purpose of the regional association, was to basically go through and say, all right, maybe we can't pay everyone. I think one year it was like, if we paid everyone, it would have been like 75 grand. We can't afford to do that. And this is us saying, thank you very much for servicing our customers or our citizens. So we basically said, like, let's say Red Cross submitted an application every year. They wanted $5,000. Well, we have these other ones that help out too. We gave it to you this year. This year it's going over to this person. It's not going to be guaranteed to go to Red Cross. Maybe it goes to Meals on Wheels. That's the balancing act. And that's the benefit of having the regional association board that reviews those. Takes a lot of the problem and headache away from the select board to go through and interview and talk to them and find out customers have you, how many citizens have you serviced in our community versus just coming and asking us for funding.
And it's a pretty rigorous application process that's been developed. So we are looking at, their financials, we're looking at what they have, what they expend. They do tell us how many employees that they, not employees, how many of their clients are specifically from Brentwood. We know what they are providing back and then a value for that. So it's a pretty rigorous process that they go through, the application process, and then rating them based on the pool of money we have, but also what their needs are, and then what they give back to the community.
And one of the things that I really liked about the regional association review is how much of the money, for every dollar that they get, how much is actually given back out to the community versus how much is going to salary and staff. I know there was one it was like gross. It was like 90 cents of every dollar coming in gets taken care of for the company.
Right.
10 cents if it only goes out. Well, that's a bad return. If you're helping the community, 90% of your dollars is going back into your pocket. I'm not giving you a dollar.
And chances are, I know you mentioned the Red Cross, but if it's a national organization, they're much less likely to be funded because they have a lot more resources than, say, somebody like Meals on Wheels that is direct impact on so many of our residents.
So I don't know if there are any recommendations by anyone. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Letty?
Not sure it's worth mentioning my thoughts.
Mention your thoughts. That's the whole purpose of having a board, is to have discussions.
Want to hear it?
Okay, over the last 5 years, the direct assistance line has only spent $5,000 total over the last 5 years. I absolutely want to support people who need direct assistance, but I'm wondering why we're not connecting with them. And if there's, so this used to be a higher number and we cut it last year because it wasn't getting spent.
Yeah, and I know Sue Benoit, prior welfare director, she was really good about reaching out to other resources, community assistance, to direct people to get eating assistance and all that stuff versus taking the burden on completely by the town, which is, you know, it was definitely beneficial to the town at the salary for what we were paying her, for what we were getting.
Mm-hmm.
She was saving, she was a good miser as far as not spending that money unnecessarily.
Am I correct in thinking that the, like you said, the 11.7% is basically $2,000?
Yeah, 2,200. Yeah,
Well, it's actually,
it's the difference between 2124 and
if you look at
18,907, which works out to 2217.
right?
Tried to put it.
Thank you.
I mean, if you feel better about reducing it to
nope,
$1,000.
Nope.
You can do that, just know that
Nope.
if it goes over 1,000, we still have to pay it, so.
Yeah, and in my opinion, you know, tell me if I'm wrong, I'd much rather see the direct assistance, you know, and try to manipulate or adjust the community assistance. Because I feel like the direct assistance is just that, direct to our residents.
If I only have, you know, when I do my household budget, I only have $2,000 to donate to the charities that I want. And everyone needs to realize that community assistance is we're donating to charities,
Exactly,
the taxpayers.
right.
Yes and no.
Taxpayers are donating the dollars.
Yes and no, because they are giving it back to, they are providing welfare services for us. So either we could spend the money directly and provide meals to people who can't, elderly seniors who can't get out to get meals, we can provide it. You can hire someone to cook and deliver and go in and sit down, like check on that resident and make sure that they don't need other services and refer them. We can do that, or we can give Meals on Wheels $2,000 this year. So it's much cheaper for us to fund the community assistance than it is to do direct. The direct is the last resort. Like we've done everything else. We've tried to hook you up with something, but we need to put you in a hotel tonight.
No, I just want to.
Or we need to put you in a hotel for 3 nights. That's what you're funding right now is, so there's food pantries for food for the most part. There's fuel assistance. I mean, every effort is made to go outside the system, outside of our direct funds. But the reason we can do that is because of regional associations.
Remind me of the timeline. Last year, we put in a number and then you make your final decisions before we have to decide on this budget, correct? For funding amounts?
We decide, so the applications have to be in by the end of this month. We decide in November, and then we will have a number for you.
Okay, so we can.
And I will say that the committee is extremely frugal
So we
and
can leave this alone.
conscientious.
We can leave it as it is. And if you come back like you did last year and say, actually, we didn't need all of it, or actually, we need a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if the goal is, and again, I don't want to sound like, you know, Scrooge, maybe I do, but if the goal is level funded, you know, then
Teams is trying to.
why wouldn't we, you know?
Well, I would
I don't
just
know.
say that the need was not there last year because of
Probably push the
ARPA.
button.
And I don't think that's going to be the
Oh.
case this year. Given the number of people who have reached out, who have not reached out in the past. So I know we have a food pantry in town that does a significant number, I'm going to say $12,000 a year in food to residents that we don't pay for. It's all donated. They are applying because they need funds this year, and they've never applied in the past. I have several groups like that We give directly to our residents that have never asked in the past.
I say leave it as is for now, see what she comes back with. I mean, if people are in need, I think we should do what we can.
And we are required by law.
Yeah.
We are required by 165, RSA 165.
Make a
So we're gonna move to table it?
I
then?
was gonna make a motion to approve this number.
Oh, sorry.
And if we
Second.
want, and if we want to change it later, we can,
Yeah.
just
When-
to have
so
something for the
You
budget
said they
committee. to
have to
look
have
at.
it by the end of this month. Are you talking September? or-
October. I'm already in October, I'm sorry.
I'm like, wait a minute.
No, we have it in a month.
We got a month for them to submit
right.
for their.
Some of them already have been submitting, so.
I have not actually got submissions. I've gotten requests for the applications. I've sent the applications out, but it's a significant number of new ones.
And a lot of times what they're asking for is not ultimately what we're gonna have. We only have a pool of money.
Right.
So we've done this before, historically, where you're like, well, perfect example, where you guys only pay out this much because you say, I can only justify paying these ones. These ones are asking me for 50 grand and nice pie in the sky, it's not happening, it's a wish list.
And I know the committee is
They
they do their due diligence. And should they find that people are asking for money that the financial records show that they don't need, they will not be awarding all the money.
So
Like,
we do
that's
have a
just how they
motion.
work.
We do have a second. Just take a vote.
So the motion is, can you repeat it?
To approve the welfare budget for $21,124, which is what they asked
The,
for.
the proposed budget.
Of 21,124.
Yes.
Okay, subject to reconsideration. Okay.
Thank you.
We need a vote.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
That's 1 out of 3. It's gonna be a
We're making-
long
we're
budget.
making
Those are
pro-
the easy ones.
This is
Told
the
ya.
easy one.
Making
Warned you.
progress.
I warned you.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I need a cup. Give me some of your coffee.
It's gone. I already drank it.
All right, under old business, I am going to ask the chair of the budget committee, Mr. Hajar, who has some update with regard to health.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, Jim Hager, and I'm actually speaking as a member of the health insurance sub-team from the Budget Committee. Unfortunately, Deputy Chief Olson from the fire department had texted me. He was actually going to be here tonight, and I asked you today. Roy and I had spoken and asked you to put him on the agenda, and I gave you what he was going to discuss, and I was going to be here kind of with him, but he's not able to make it this evening. And his text to me just said he'd appreciate if I could kind of do this little review for you, and then just make sure that everyone understands we want to collaborate to help find solutions for health insurance. So with that, I'll just touch on that after last week's select board meeting, Michelle and I, who are the sub-team, health insurance sub-team on the budget committee, met with the fire department. We were there from, I don't know, 4.5 hours or so, and on Wednesday, and then I returned myself on Thursday and spent a little over 3 hours, almost 4 hours with them, and it was a really good discussion. Like I said, I was hoping that the deputy chief would be here tonight to share that same message of collaboration that went on. And I mean, I'll be honest, there's definitely some areas where there was disagreement, but the focus was just to stay looking forward and working together collaboratively. And I'm sure you can share this with the rest of your committee, but the update that we wanted to give was just that, we met to discuss the health insurance policy in the employee handbook. And we were looking at the 2026 health insurance budget. We also looked at those health trust suggested possible improvements that the sub-team had presented at our previous budget committee meeting. And then we talked about this possibility of going direct to Anthem instead of being in Health Trust, the self-insured risk pool. So the suggested next steps that we came up with was, and again, this is all select board purview. I explained that to the fire department, that while we were there, this sub-team was just about collecting information and making recommendations to the select board before, and we kind of took a little bit of a detour because some of the things that we discovered, but so the suggested next steps, and we felt that these two were really important, is that once the 2026 rates are available, which should be like the first week of October, I believe, we'd like to have Health Trust, we'd like to have you, the select board, schedule Andrew from Health Trust to come here to give a presentation, an overview of the 2026 health plans and coverages, the rates, and give that to our employees, as well as, whomever members of the boards, the select board and budget committee that can attend. But we want him to provide additional information, like with these suggested possible options that we could have that would, possibly reduce the cost for the employees and give them acceptable coverage. Because if we can reduce costs and give the employees acceptable coverage, it's going to reduce costs for the town because we're linked together on the contribution rates. So, and then just make sure that he's available. And I know he is, he said he would do this, but he would be available to answer any questions that either employees or board members would have. We also would like the select board, because once these rates are available from Anthem, we'd like to also have you schedule the benefit consultant that, and Andrea has been working with a resident in town to do this presentation. And I know Julie has his information as well, but schedule that benefits consultant to prevent a similar overview of the 2026 plans, coverages, rates of going direct to Anthem. And again, make sure he's able to answer any questions that we may have, employees or board members may have regarding, again, the goal being, is there a way that we can reduce costs and keep adequate and acceptable coverages for the employees? So, and then shortly after those presentations are given, we would like to recommend that a health insurance task force team consisting of 2 select board members, 2 budget committee members, and then at least 3 town department heads, who will then take on, and in the month of October, meet and with the following objectives. We would review all of these plans and options and coverages and possible improvements that are available to the town, determine which provider, whether it's Health Trust or Anthem Direct, offers the best insurance options for our town. And when I say town, again, this is employees and obviously from us, from a financial perspective, our select board and budget committees, right? The taxpayer. Determine which plans and coverages we should offer to the employees, and determine which, if any, possible improvements should be implemented to lower those costs to employees in town while maintaining the coverages. Things like the FSA, HRA, even in lieu of payments. I know there was discussion, we discussed that, like, is it what we have adequate or not? But then based on the recommendations of that task force, the finance director would then produce a financial impact summary that would include what are the employee and town contributions for the plans that we would like to have, the coverages, and any possible improvements that we'd like to implement. And then come up with the 2026 proposed budget appropriation based on those plans, coverages, as well as, maybe just for now use the prior year's enrollment as a just to kind of come up with a comparison to where we're at today. And then the final recommendation would be that, obviously, based on the recommendations of this task force and a proposed budget appropriation, then you, the select board, would vote to either, to accept and implement those changes that are recommended by this task force, update the health insurance section of the employee handbook to reflect those changes, and then complete the health insurance enrollment process with all the town employees. And then once that's completed, those details would go to the finance director to prepare the 2026 budget request for health insurance, and then the select board would then submit that request to the budget committee. But again, it would be a collaborative thing because we would have members from select board and budget committee involved with this whole process. And I think the important thing, again, I'll just stress back with what the deputy chief said. Oh, and I just should mention, I can't thank, when we met, when Michelle and I were there, Chief Byrd, Deputy Chief Olson, Lieutenant Whitby, and then Katerina. We had really good discussions with them over the 2 days. And I can't thank them enough for taking the time out of their busy day to, meet with us. But I think we all saw the importance of this and really worked collaboratively of getting past looking back of how this happened or what happened and just focus on, okay, how do we proceed forward? And again, I'll just use his words here, that we want to try to collaborate together to help find a solution for our health insurance in town. So, with that, I could take any questions. Again, I apologize, Deputy Chief couldn't make it. I know he was busy today. I met with him at lunchtime, but he had told me that he was going to try to make it, but he did text me at about 20 past 6 or so, saying he was not going to be able to make it and wanted me to give this overview.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And I think this is consistent with, what I was trying to express at the last meeting, which, I'm not sure how much that got out because there was a lot of other, noise. But
I definitely heard it, and
which
I
is,
mean,
we need to move forward.
I know Michelle and I
This is
definitely
a
heard it.
path, to moving forward.
Yep, bravo.
Yeah,
Right.
good. I
So-
like the bio, I'm just trying, who's Andrew? Is he with Health Trust or Anderson?
Andrew is Health Trust.
Okay.
The benefit, what's that?
Who's with Anthem?
The benefits consultant that I had given the name is Sean Caron, Caron. He's on Mohawk Lane. He's actually one of my neighbors, but he's a benefits consultant. And he was the one he got all the data from Andrea because Michelle and I wanted nothing to do with that because of either HIPAA privacy. Plus it's not, he was working with Andrea and I know he got all the information he needed. He ran it and he has some suggestions already, but it's based on the 2025 rates. So he's like, wait till we get the 26 rates and then he's willing to come in here and give the town an overview of what we can do going direct.
Yeah, I would welcome that.
And just in that line, just to point out, we discussed this last night at our budget committee meeting. I'm not sure. And you remember earlier, there was some discussion at the state level about health trust, that they were saying, hey, there could be problems. And it created this, like there was actually a bill that could possibly change things, and health trust was threatening to leave. And we had actually our 2 state reps present information to the budget committee regarding this. And then the whole bill fizzled and it kind of and Health Trust kind of told us, yeah, well, there were some good things that came out. But just this past weekend, it did come out that school care, which is the other large risk pool in New Hampshire. And I spoke to Dan, our school board rep, and we don't believe that SAU 16 utilizes.
They don't, they use.
Correct. But what it came out is that they have a significant shortfall this year. And I believe the number that they went to these, and what Channel 9 was reporting, was that it's a 12.5% increase that they're finding out now. And so these risk pools, they are what they are. It's not insurance, right? It's just a pool of money, and you're self-insured, and you're with some other people, some other folks. But if it runs out of money, I think this was the state was warning. So maybe if the costs make sense, maybe it is a good idea to look at or to take that leap of going direct with an insurance company so that we have no risk at all. In what the money that they say we pay, that's how insurance works, right?
Yeah,
So.
I saw the same news article, and I know Concord, I think, had to come up with
Correct.
$2 million.
Correct.
And had to come up with like 1 point.
Yeah, yes.
The way the pool works, insurance guy, is everyone pays in, and they hope that they don't shell out as many dollars that they had coming in. So
Correct.
everyone jumps in the pool together. Water's warm.
Correct.
But then if I get somebody that splashes all the water out,
Right.
someone's got to now fill up the pool again.
But they tell you we're not an insurance company.
Yeah.
We just maintain the pool,
They're
right?
essentially
We're insurance companies with their big buildings and every big.
It's
They
self-insurance.
have ways of making money with your things, but anyways, I don't want to get off track. So
Are you looking for designees for this task force?
I think we need to make a motion to enact the recommendations first and then go from there.
Okay.
Letty had a thought too.
I just wanted to, as we're enacting it, I want to make sure I understand what the purpose is. The number one goal to examine options for insurance coverage for employees and to figure out what open enrollment's going to be? I guess this is a question for, like,
Oh, okay.
right, because open enrollment's in like a month or so.
Yeah, usually it's like November 7th or whatever.
Well, we
Sure.
have to figure out what we're offering for plans before we can do open enrollment.
Right. So are we gonna figure out, so is the point of this task force to figure out a recommendation to bring to this board about what the town should do for plans?
And it's gonna
Yeah.
be pretty quick because you're gonna be you have to get it rolled out, number one, to deliver it to the employees by November. And the rates aren't coming out until next week, so it's gonna be a pretty quick process.
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't have it in front of you, Letty, but that's absolutely was our goal, is that because the rates come out the first week of October, we're saying, let's schedule these people to be here. As soon as those rates are available, get them on the schedule to give an overview to us, because then the task force would basically have the whole month of October to kind of sift through and make some recommendations to this select board. The goal being that we would have time, because if the select board votes on and approves a new plan or plans or a new way of doing this, you could vote and have this in place in time for enrollment this year. That would be the goal.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the goal, knowing that we have to get it rolled out for November, they really would be, the most they would have, would have 3 weeks. Because they'd have to get it to us by the last week of October, so we can then get ready to roll it out for November. And not to overwhelm Jillian, she'll be typing.
Jillian has nothing to do with this, I don't think.
No, she'll be typing up
I don't,
whatever we recommend.
I don't think Jillian has anything to do with open enrollment.
No, but typing, whatever plan she's gonna have to send it to somebody.
So Jim, the only thing else I would add is I also gave another broker's name to Julie, so that the
Right.
committee should also.
And I think
Look at
she's
that.
been,
Yeah,
reached out to that
I
person.
heard that, and I think she did.
that the goal is to move this off of Julie's plate and give it to the task force or whatever we labeled it as.
Super crew.
But I'll make a motion to adopt the recommendations that.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Who from this board wants to do it? I know enough about insurance.
I like Bob and Letty. Letty was involved in our plans to date, and Bob's definitely
Bob's an insurance guy.
an insurance guy.
All right. I was going to volunteer, but if you two are wanting to do it, then so be it.
Do I get to negotiate with them?
Yeah, well, we're part of a team. And I would just add that, I guess I would ask you, where this is a select board thing and really not a budget committee thing, I would like it to be Michelle and myself, since we were the sub-team of health insurance, as long as you are comfortable with that. And I did,
Budget committee reps.
Oh,
yeah,
I guess you could ask could you ask your
well, like I
budget
said,
committee to make,
I don't, honestly, we have a sub-team that we already voted and approved, that it's Michelle and myself. As long as you, select board, are comfortable with that, I'm comfortable with it. Yeah, that's what I just want to make sure that that's not going to be an
because
issue.
there's 7 on the budget committee, right?
There are 5 members and 2 appointed from the board, yeah, 7.
There's 7 people on the budget committee, so a quorum would be 4.
Yeah, because we definitely
Is
don't,
that right?
we
Yes.
don't want to have a quorum, but, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I really appreciate it. Again, and on behalf of the fire department and those folks, really appreciate it, thank you.
Yep. I'll certainly be keeping a close eye on it.
Should we, in terms of employees, a police rep, a fire rep, and a office worker person, or how do you want
I think that's fair.
I mean, the police and the fire are the 2 biggest departments.
Right, well, but I wanted to make sure that
I'd say
everyone not
find
police.
one person to that could be part of that from each of those, and then collectively, out of all the town
Mm-hmm.
staff, throw it out to them and say who wants to sit on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. Not to overburden Julie, but that might be an option.
Whoever,
I mean, yeah,
whoever
we can
throws their
ask her.
name in the hat.
We can ask her.
that's-
Yep.
And then it's just a matter of, all right, I have these 3 people that are wanting to do it,
Why don't we ask?
because she might say, I don't have,
Yeah.
the
Bandwidth.
capacity or
yeah.
bandwidth to do that,
Yeah,
so
well.
therefore, I'm stepping back.
Yep.
And then we take whoever.
I know she,
Mm-hmm.
I asked the department heads.
Mm-hmm.
we also had on the agenda job descriptions. Did we want to cover that with regard to town administrator and have any further discussion there?
Yeah, I think Bob had generated some job descriptions or yoinked some job descriptions
I
off
got
New
them
Hampshire.
from the MRI. yeah.
MRI, yeah.
Are we gonna use those?
I think it's worthwhile for the heads of the departments to utilize that as a tool, and that we need to come up with those. And if
So
we're
we
in-
are the head of that department. This board is the head of that department, the
of
TA.
Every department.
I know.
But there's heads of each one of those departments. And that's typically, but if there's an opening for those heads, then yeah, we need to take those positions.
I think what Letty's saying is we need to put in a town administrator job description before we hire a town administrator.
Yeah, we have that, yeah, I would just follow that template that I got off of MRI. And we can just wordsmith it. You would like me to wordsmith it?
Well, I guess the question is, who is
Or
wordsmithing?
you wanna have
I don't know. That's
attorney that's well at wordsmithing, 'cause that's what they do.
Well, I guess,
I'm good at wordsmithing too.
So
Not that I have to
I
do
would,
review
if
it.
Bob has time to wordsmith it, he can put something together
I can
and.
type it up and send it out. I'll
Alright.
send it to you and then you can distribute it.
okay.
See what everyone wants. Or
I
I'll
mean,
distribute it.
particularly as we're coming upon, interviews pretty quickly, so,
I'll type it up tomorrow.
okay, perfect. Then we'll move on to committee updates. Whoever wants to go.
There was a budget committee meeting last night. I think it might have said all the things. Or between Jim and I, we've said everything that happened.
Great.
I have nothing.
Just that we have started our interviews process for police chief. So that's underway.
Excellent.
Rec is now, Jason told me, October 22nd, so no updates other than that.
Planning board, we had an interesting meeting last Wednesday, which was a special day, and we had Mr. Falzone with Wayne Morel, who is a engineer, and speaking about density in terms of changing some of the zones along 125 from commercial to multifamily. And interestingly, there was some consensus that 6 was a good number for multifamily that would be profitable on the development side and something that we could be looking at in terms of an ordinance, which I thought was encouraging because personally, I didn't want to see more and have some big apartment complex and Mr. Falzone telling us that was the only thing that was profitable. So 6 seemed like a reasonable accommodation. So I know that's something that the planning board then voted on and agreed for moving forward with an ordinance on that basis. I don't know if it was anything, but that was the big takeaway, I think. Yeah.
Just to clarify, that was 6 units in one building on
Correct.
one piece of property.
Correct. Yes.
Is there a
Exactly.
certain lot size that they have to have, or is it just, what are they looking at?
No, I don't think there would be a certain lot size, would there? As long as it had the required frontage. You know. Yep.
Can we have that coming up, Mike?
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you, Doug. I think the idea when he was talking about soil size and looking at other numbers, but ultimately agreeing on, 6, and then there would be a set aside of 1. Okay, set aside of 1, which would be subsidized. That's probably the wrong word.
Affordable. Is that what you're looking at?
Affordable. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Is it 1 or 2? Right. But 6 being the total for the unit or the building. So I thought that was helpful.
At a minimum, or,
Yes. Yes.
so they could go with 8 and then make 2 and.
Doug, if you want to keep going, I'm going to have you speak in the mic.
Oh, he's done.
Okay.
As soon as you make him live, he's done.
Yeah, gotcha.
No
Anyways.
microphone for you.
Is there any public comment at this point? All right, barring none, we do have some non-public to discuss tonight. So thank you, everyone, for coming. I would take a motion to go into non-public 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, A and B, personnel and hiring.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. You need a roll call.
Roll call. Andy?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
And Paul is aye. Okay, why don't we take
Good night, Brentwood Joe.
3 minutes?
Now I know what happened to your engine.
No, we sat on a brand new
No kidding, I do feel sick. I'm not even joking. I already feel it. Been up with them all day.